Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Professor and the Samp. It's not Monday, it's Tuesday, and this was done by design. You know why, Professor?
Why is that?
Because we did not know what to expect from Monday Night Raw, and we thought maybe it'd be best if we just sit back, watch Raw, and see what happens before we come to you guys. Because I think you and I both said off air yesterday that this is something that's going to create some headlines. Maybe we should wait.
You
So
know,
I told Mama T, hey Mama T, take the day off and come in Tuesday morning. And she did. And once again, she blew our minds. So, ladies and gentlemen,
always.
boys and girls, welcome to Professor and the Sap. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson, and I'm joined as always by my man, the master of disaster, the king of sting, the original Apollo Creed. People don't know this, but Apollo Creed was based off this man, the
Stop
king of
it.
the jungle, the master, Mr. Professor Bear. How are you, brother?
Man, I'm hanging in there. I'm feeling, you know what? I'm blessed. And every day I get to open my eyes and do all this extra stuff is a blessing.
Absolutely, brother man. Absolutely. So let's get into it. Okay. We just have to get into it. And I've already done the Samp and Chance pod. It's already out there. Cheap plug. I'm gonna do it, but if it's out there, episode 401, Bear. Episode 401 of the Samp and Chance podcast. Um we went on the other side of it all, the backstage stuff of it all. But let's talk about the storylines. Let's keep our podcast the way it is. Sami Zayn wins the world title, not the Universal Championship. We're now calling it the WWE Championship again, which it should have always been, in my opinion. That Universal shit didn't make sense to me. So quietly, they
Right.
changed that without any fanfare or any kind of announcements. Okay. We have that situation. Sammy wins. Everyone's happy. Some people aren't. Some people are. It's 50-50. The room's divided. Depends where you are. Unfortunately for Sammy, he doesn't even get to celebrate it on live TV. It's a tape show. So he doesn't even get the honor or the glory of having that opportunity. So the next time we see the guy live is last night on Monday Night Raw. And I felt that they even took more of the shine off of him by the opening segment where Cody Rhodes gets absolutely destroyed by Gunther before the show even starts. Okay. So you take Cody out of the mix. Now, I'm not saying this is a spoiler alert because anyone who listens to our show probably already knows what happened. 47-year-old CM Punk emerges. They give him the garage door opening. He comes out and he walks away with the title. Didn't I tell you that, Bear, though? Didn't I tell you this would happen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now we got CM Punk as world champion once again. He comes back, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I don't know if it's HGH or if he's taking his cycle, but the man looks good. All right. He's in shape. Suicide dive through the ropes. He looked good. It is what it is. But isn't it contradictory that CM Punk is the same guy that would complain about older gentlemen being world champion and we should emphasize the younger talent and whatnot? Well, twice this year now, three times this year, we've seen Punk, who's 47 plus, walk away with the title. Not to say that Sami Zayn's a young chicken, but it's contradictory.
The funniest thing about the whole show for me was LA Knight because as much as I do like LA Knight, but I'm his stick is worn thin on me. But as a lot of people can say, tell me where he was lying. He told the truth about Seth. He told the truth about Roman. He told the truth about WWE. It's the same people that win the title. And again, I'm I, I'm that person that if it makes sense, I can understand it. But here's where my problem lies. You let Punk come in win the title, first off. Second off, you take the WWE title that's a SmackDown title. Y'all purposely do it on Raw because it's in Chicago. So Punk can get the Chicago pop and everything. Same thing they did with Sammy.
The Saudi pop, yeah.
But at least the show was, it made sense storyline because it was a pay-per-view or whatever in the hell they call it now.
PLE.
PLE, thank you. So that irritated me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna save the whole title change for later on because I want to get into some other stuff that happened that really people wouldn't talk about. What in the hell has the Street Profits done to management? Because they get a 2-week run, 2 weeks, just to lose. And I wouldn't even have necessarily a problem with them losing the title back to keep the division together because that's all it was for. And to put Maxine in the group.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the first thing that came to my mind is, so Ron, you ain't gonna be a main guy. We're just gonna throw you in this tag team because we don't have nothing else for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Your teammates are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna throw you in this and give you something to do for the time being.
Right. No, you're not wrong, Bear. And if I can interject here very quickly, earlier this morning I did my other show, and I started off by saying normally Chance and I like to do a lot of debating and this and that, but I had nothing to debate because I couldn't disagree with anything that was probably going to be coming my way on this episode, right? WWE, and I know we, this ties into what we do, okay? Because we talk storylines, and right now the writing is so discombobulated, the direction is so discombobulated that I'm almost now thinking they don't know what they're doing up in Stamford. They really don't. You do this to Sammy. You've done this now to the Street Profits on the same show. You introduce Maxine Dupuis. Now, from a storyline perspective, I'll say this, okay? The look on Braun's face lets me know that we're looking at it. They've already planted the seeds for the split. Okay? Are they waiting for Logan to get healthy so you can have a Braun Logan feud because that's the one that makes the most sense? That's what we're probably going to end up getting here. So the seeds are planted there. Something's going to happen. And I think that's the direction that they're going in. Now, have the Street Profits done anything wrong? No, they're just unfortunately the circumstance of being in a company that does this to them time and time and time again. All right, that's that. Look, at the end of the day, man, I just feel everything is really discombobulated over there right now. Like, it doesn't make sense. But I also am completely aware that a lot of times when shit doesn't make sense, it all comes together. And we're like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. So I'm still holding out for that prospect. I'm still holding out for that hope that all of this makes sense somewhere along the way. Right? The other issue I have now is it's not an issue, but a revelation, and it's an assumption on my part, but I really am believing that they are releasing shit online to get people talking. We saw it with Brock and Oba when it was WrestleMania time, and Brock, they basically said, Heyman said in a tweet, Heyman said that Brock's not going to do this and this and that. Well, he did everything that he said he wasn't going to do. 3 weeks before Punk showed up on Raw here, what started? Oh, there's a bit of disagreement backstage because Punk really wants to be on the Chicago show, even though they wanted him to debut on SmackDown. It's a flub. They knew he was coming. They knew that they were going to do this. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, Chance mentioned something from the other side of the curtain, which made me wonder as well. Like, were they looking at SummerSlam ticket sales and seeing how low they are per se? I mean, it's 50% sold out, but not what you would expect for a big show like that. Okay. Do you think they stripped him because they realized that Punk or Sammy wouldn't generate ticket sales?
Yes and no. And this kind of, they never had plans for Sammy to have a long run. You know, I had mentioned that to you a while
Yeah.
back that I didn't know when Sammy was going to win the title, and
Mm,
it wasn't going to be a long run.
mm,
So yes, I think. Well, I know they knew Sammy wasn't going to draw money.
mm,
Oh, okay. They already had in place Cody and Punk.
mm,
Did that back a while ago before Punk took his hiatus,
yeah,
plant disease.
yeah,
Okay, and again, I'm not I'm not so upset with the storyline. It's how we are getting there. Because let's face it, we saw, unless you are just a casual fan,
yeah.
anyone that knows anything about wrestling knew Punk was coming.
Well, that's it.
Knew knew Punk as soon as Cody got jumped, you knew Punk was coming and winning that title.
I knew Punk was coming 3 weeks ago, Bear. Not just not just
Well, no, I knew he was coming back.
yeah.
The slide him into the title picture. Okay, okay. And here's another funny thing that WWE does. They caught Sammy backstage after the match, and he did his
Sammy.
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, yeah.
How in the world I scraped, and scraped to get a title shot, and this guy just pops back up, immediately gets the title shot, and on top of that, with no warning for Sammy. Sammy didn't have time to prepare for Punk.
No.
And watch. Now they won't give Sammy a rematch. Or if they do,
But they confused the
it's
situation even more because you got Cody who got his head smashed, right? And that spot looked really good. I
oh
know
yeah,
what it was, but that was a cool looking spot. Okay.
yeah.
What are you doing with Gunther? How many times are you gonna burn this guy down and raise him back up like a phoenix? Like now you have inserted Gunther into this program again.
Well, see here, but no, here's where the genius, well, not the genius. This is where they're gonna swerve because off the rip, they're gonna say, well, it's gonna be Sammy and Gunther to see who will get the next shot.
Yeah.
But then you got all this.
Well, but that's the
All
thing.
this, all this is going to step back in to the ring.
Right.
It's going to
Yeah.
be Gunther and all this. And like you said, what why? What does this do for Gunther? The man, the man who's retired,
Okay.
AJ Styles.
All right. All right. All right. So this is how I'm can I do a little bit of fantasy booking here?
Yes, of course.
All right, so here's how I'm looking at it right now. As you were talking, I don't know what happens in my head. It's like that beautiful mind shit. It just starts all kind of coming together in my
Right,
head.
right.
And I'm thinking about it right now, right off the top of my dome. Here's what I got for you, Baron, and let me know what you think. You're gonna get you're gonna probably have Gunther versus Sammy as some kind of fight going down. Something's gonna happen there. Okay. It's
Right.
gonna blow up. You're gonna have Aldis versus Gunther at SummerSlam, and you're probably gonna get the return of Sammy versus Punk somehow. Cody should be off TV for a while. This is what I think should happen. Is that the match people want? Or the other side of it is you save Aldis and Gunther and let that simmer and you let it keep building and have Gunther versus Punk at SummerSlam. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Those are the only two options. There is no one on the roster right now that even makes any sense with 3 weeks out of Mania to kind of go into that spot if that's the case.
Well,
Unless they
I
pull and say, "Oh, it's going to be a triple threat between Sammy, Punk, and Cody again."
they're they are going to move Sammy. They're about to Kofi Kingston Sammy.
They already did, dude. But why are people surprised about it? Because let's look back in time. Let's look at the history of this company and what they've done. They did it to Daniel Bryan. They appeased the public, but then they took it away as fast as they could.
Yep.
Granted, Daniel was hurt and he had a lot of concussion issues, and they were protecting themselves. Okay, and I called this the Jerry Lawler effect because if that shit didn't happen to Jerry Lawler on live TV, half these guys would still be wrestling and no one would give a shit.
Exactly.
Ever since Lawler stuff, you've noticed how hard and how much they push, the health stuff with
Yes.
WWE. Okay. AEW hasn't suffered any of that. That's why Edge and all these guys who aren't cleared by WWE get automatically cleared by AEW. Okay, so you got that thing. The same thing happened with Kofi. He wins the title. At least they let the man run with it for a couple months before he gets
Yes.
completely destroyed. Okay.
Yep.
What about Rey Mysterio when he won it on the Sunday and lost it on the Monday to John Cena? And you could see
No,
it.
no, it wasn't. He won it that Monday and lost it like 2 hours
Right,
later.
right. Sorry, the same day. Even worse, man.
You're right.
At least I gave the brother a day with the title. You're right. It was. He won it at the beginning of the show and he lost it at the end of the
At
show.
the end.
Okay, so granted, that was the second run, but still, even John Cena, you could see, kayfabe or not, John was like, "Fuck, I don't want to
Oh
do
yeah.
this."
He
You know what I mean?
he respected Ray and really
He
didn't want
did,
to
but
he didn't want
again,
to do that to him.
but then John showed why the business is bigger than him. He did what he had to do for business,
Yeah.
right? Didn't like it, but he did it. Okay. Fast forward to Sammy. I feel sad for Sammy, and and again, this is why I'm kind of tooting this horn on Sami Zayn because one, he wins the title in Saudi Arabia, got the great pop there, which is beautiful. Congratulations, Sammy. But your celebration was on a tape delay. You know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
first time we see the guy live with the title, after what Gunther did, and you look at Sammy's face, he looks so dumbfounded that you made
And
the guy look even
scared.
more stupid
Yes.
with his mouth open.
He was scared. He's like, what?
Right,
Uh,
right. So you
uh,
got that situation, and then you have the thing that happens with him and Punk. And take it, and I get it. It is what it is, right? So, like I said, I'm waiting to see how it all plays out.
right.
But this is, us just basically talking about what we saw and like, why doesn't it all make sense? The other portion here is, and this kind of ties into everything. We're talking about the program and everything else. Why would you announce a John Cena classic and we've never heard about it again? Okay. And I did some research on it because Chance actually brought it up to me, and we were supposed to talk about it on today's show, but we got so caught up in all this other stuff
Right.
that we forgot about it. How can you announce a John Cena classic and then you go to find out that they have no real concept in place yet? They don't know how the voting's going to work. Well, they did Taboo Tuesday. Yeah, that was a complete work. There was no voting. They already knew who
Well,
was going to fight who.
they did it the first time and it bit them in the butt, so they were like, no more of that.
Right. So what are they going to do this time? So they got to figure all that out before they announce stuff because in this world of bots, okay, one guy can sit there and just basically click one button and garner 50,000 votes for one guy that shouldn't be there.
Exactly.
And that's what they want to avoid because at the end of the day, they still want to put on the match that they want to put on.
Exactly.
So they got to
Control.
figure out how this voting's going to work. So they don't have any of this. So, this is what I'm saying with WWE right now. What's the program? What are they doing?
Uh, I really don't want to bring this up. I
Bring it
really
up,
don't.
man. We're already
But
there.
but here's the kicker to me and everything I see with this. WWE is trying to get clicks. They're trying to get the attention because look at what, because I watched something this morning, and they said look at the difference between Darby Allin's run and Sammy, because at least Darby had 7 defenses. Even if he had 1 to 2 defenses, he was successful defending the title. They gave Sammy nothing.
Yeah.
They gave him the title, and that's it. Now, this is going to make him even bitter, more, more, oh my goodness, more Drew McIntyre, because he'll be right.
Yeah.
And again, I know what's happening. It's going to be Punk and Cody, which, it is what it is. But again, for all these big shows that they keep putting the same headliners out there, it's coming at the expense of a lot of your younger talent.
Okay, and we're back to this argument again. But let's go backwards here, Baron. Not to debate you. I don't want to debate you. I never want to do that. But let's just go back in time and look at the history of wrestling and how it all formulates. Okay, in the 80s, it was Ric Flair, Hogan, Ric Flair, Hogan, Ric Flair, Hogan, and every once in a while they drop it and put it right back on them. Okay, let's fast forward to the 90s. 90s was a little different because they didn't really know what they were doing, so they tried it on everybody. So let's move on to the 2000s. Who was it? Triple H, Batista, Triple H, Orton, Triple H, Batista, Triple H, Orton. Oh, here's John Cena, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, Batista, blah, 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 blah. Okay. With the spattering of CM Punk, with the little spattering of CM Punk, Jericho, etc., in the WWEDs. Okay,
right.
90s were Stone Cold, Rock, Mankind, Stone Cold, Triple H, Rock. You know what I mean? It's the ebbs and flows. What are we getting now? Is no different from what we got then. Roman, blah 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 blah. And guess what? In 10 years, we're gonna say the same about Braun, Gunther, Trick. It's just how it goes.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. No argument from that standpoint. I think the frustration comes is when you can look at the other company and how they're at least creating different stars around the title, that whether you like them or not, they have storyline logistics of why they can challenge for the title.
Okay.
And that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Because look, MJF, like you said, you got the same people. You got MJF, you got Swerve, you got Jericho.
Jericho's out of the picture.
Well, true, but I'm just naming the people that they could throw in legitimately.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree, right. And I'm glad you brought up Jericho because I want to bring something up here, if I may.
Yes.
Let's look away from the north, and let's point our direction to the south.
Okay.
This Wednesday, WCW Bash at AEW Beach Break. Okay, tell me they didn't take that from there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. That was me being facetious. I apologize. The card looks kind of interesting. Okay, we got MJF, Kenny Omega for the championship. Kenny loses. He'll never get another title shot in his life. Okay, and that doesn't matter if MJF loses. Kenny Omega will not get a sniff of the title.
Right.
Does that make sense to do that to a guy like Kenny Omega that you still need around? Like, yes, they got 50 other titles that he can go challenge for, but do you see that being a logical thing to do to him? Because I know MGF is not going to lose. All right. Unless he loses by disqualification or something and Kenny wins that way, but MGF is still your champion. That's the only way I can see it. Now, Chance has said that they can do some kind of run in or something. I'll go, yeah, but dude, he still lost.
So here's the kicker to that.
Yeah.
They have been wanting that's called Osprey Williams, Osprey and Omega.
Yeah.
They wanted that. That's been, from what I've, all the scuttlebutt, that's been the plan.
Well, then take it off of him and MJF he challenges Kenny in London.
Well, they want Osprey to have his big hometown moment. They figure, and I guess they figure that him beating Kenny is a win-win. Kenny gets a short another world title run.
Right.
Him and Osprey will put on a tremendous match.
Mm-hmm.
So okay,
I didn't even think about this.
And here's the kicker to you can't get a title shot no more. Generally, most times we're like, they're not going to do it. They never do it to the big stars. But what was the first thing that they did with that? Cody lost.
Yeah.
Cody never could challenge for the world title.
Yeah, so he left and went to WWE.
But here's the thing, though. How many times do your major supers, because you can feel whatever way you want about Cody. Cody was their one of their top people. If he can't challenge for the title, it's like, what do you do? And honestly, it was a brilliant move because he made the TNT title feel important.
Yeah.
And so now there's a possibility because they've done it before.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and on top of that, and on top of that, Kenny is to that point. Kenny is not the top bout machine like he was. Look, this one thing that happens to all of us.
No
matter what you do, time catches up with.
Father Time, man.
Undefeated,
reigning world champion, and Mother Nature is the reigning world female champion. You can't beat those two.
Exactly.
Unless you're Highlander.
So I get the premise. I like it. And again, that's the thing with me. At least with AEW, they have enough legitimate challengers and can make the storyline make sense.
Dude, and you know what? You opened my eyes like I opened your eyes for Saudi. You showed me an angle that I didn't really figure in my mind at all. Right. And I'm not one to read dirt sheets. I'm not one to do this. Most of the stuff that I come up with is off my own head. I you know what I mean? Like, I'm really not the dirt sheet guy. I get all my info
of course.
I get all my info from the rest of you guys in the chat groups and whatnot. Like, oh, they're talking this kind of shit. Okay. Otherwise I don't listen to it. Everything I say is just for me. Like, these are my own thoughts, right? That being said, I said something earlier today, and I want to share it with you. Should Chris Jericho become the booker for AEW? Because on this batch card, you got Tommaso Ciampa versus Chris Jericho on this card as well. Okay. You also got a gauntlet or a women's battle royal or something, Casino Royale match to determine the number one contender. You got Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher on this card as well. I'm really looking forward to that match.
That's going to be
amazing. Okay. We talk about young talent. This is who we should be focusing on. No disrespect to MGF. And the guy's young, but he's already old, if that makes any sense.
That's again where for me AEW stands above WWE because you have that young talent that could easily make that transition.
Yeah, but I
Kyle
mean
Fletcher,
WWE does too, but unfortunately the young guys keep getting hurt.
but well,
And that's the problem with that. They keep getting hurt, man.
I get that in some perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
but they again WWE and you know I love a lot of those guys at
Mm-hmm.
WWE.
Sure,
We
sure,
talk
sure.
about it, but
Absolutely.
if you put them side by side, you have more younger talent in AEW that has been built, legitimized themselves, and could easily become contenders.
True enough, but they're not getting the push
Well,
because they're doing exactly what WWE is doing. They got their 4 or 5 guys at the top, and
well,
they're not pushing the
and
younger guys up.
I hate to us because we're this was one of the beautiful things about us.
Hmm.
We are able to look at both sides,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
and so I agree with you at in some aspects, but
For
in
sure.
other aspects, I don't because, like I said, Kyle Fletcher got a shot at the title.
Okay.
He's he's still hovering. They made the insinuation about it.
Yeah.
Um no, I can't pronounce his name, who he's fighting for the title on Wednesday.
Takashita.
Man, he is a contender. I mean, hell, he won the New Japan
Oh, dude,
title.
he's more of a contender than Kyle Fletcher. Because look, at the end of the day, look, we still got to remember this. What's name value? Who's going to put butts in seats? Who's going to make you want to tune into the show? Okay, because of the population that AEW caters to, which I will always say until they do something to make me not to. AEW will always be a super indie in my eyes, a number 2 to WWE, but a super indie at the end of the day. Okay. And this is why I wanted to, follow up with what I said to you earlier. Chris Jericho, in my opinion, should be booking AEW right now. He could be a booker performer, like a coach, a player coach.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because the best thing I'm watching right now in AEW is the story between Champa and Jericho. It makes sense. The story's being built up. I know where the beginning is. I know we're in the middle, and I can look forward to the end. Okay, like a story should be. Okay, I can understand the Takashita versus Kyle Fletcher match because they were both members of the Don Callis family. That totally makes sense. But when I'm talking about substance and a storyline, like, oh, this happened and this led to this and this led to that, that's exactly what Champa and Jericho are giving me personally as one fan. I'm not
Right,
talking
right.
about everyone else. I'm just talking about me. Because when I watch your show, I'm watching it for me. I'm not watching it for no. I love you. No, I'm not watching it for you. I'm not watching it for WSN. I'm not watching it for anyone. I'm watching it for me.
Exactly.
Okay, that by far is the best thing going on in AEW because it's a complete story. That being said, I'm looking at Jericho and he's coming. Never count the man out. Maybe he's not done. Maybe he's got another 20 years in him. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I believe if you give him the reins backstage, he can do some crazy special stuff with some of these stories. Just my
Uh,
thought.
I don't disagree with you. Jericho has always shown that he has the mind for the business. I
That's it.
mean, look, he was the one that came up with the
Better
money in the
Money in the
bank.
Bank. Yeah, yeah.
So
That was his, and
again,
he never got to
Jericho,
win. He never got to win it.
yeah. So he is definitely brilliant. I think and I think this is kind of us meeting in the middle with this.
Sure.
I do think like they need Daniel Bryan to be more involved in the storyline because he has a brilliant mind.
As a writer, as a backstage.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, I
Yes.
agree. I agree.
And on top of that, like you said, you have it feeling like a super indie.
Mm-hmm.
Brian sits in that where where he knows the indies
Dude,
and the
he's the
majors
king of the super indies.
and the majors.
Yeah, he's a king of it. I get it completely. But here's the problem I have with what you just said. It's not a problem. It's just something I want you to think about.
Okay.
Didn't Daniel O'Brien and William Regal try to do this with the talent in the beginning? And then no one showed up. No one was interested in learning. No one wanted to take those lessons. They said, we will be at the ring. You guys come out. We'll work together. Let's work on psychology. Let's
Oh,
work on things. This is why it's a super indie, because indie guys don't want anyone else to tell them what to do.
well, I I
Just
see
saying,
your point.
it's
I no,
something they've
I see your
tried.
point. I see your point.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
in my argument
Sure.
or retort, this is the same thing. And it's funny to me. Again, this is why I have such an issue with him. This is the same thing Punk was hollering, but yet and still. And again, I don't want it to seem like nobody listened because they had people got some of the talent listen and everything.
Sure, sure.
But
I'm sure a couple guys showed up. I'm pretty sure, right?
right. But again, you're coming in and you're trying to take away the fit because let's just I will say this. In my eyes, AEW lost itself for a while.
I think it
They
still
were
lost
trying,
itself.
I don't think so. I think that they're in the spot that they wanted to be
Mm.
and where they need to be.
No, I
'Cause-
appreciate that. Yeah.
and the reason being, they were never, no matter how many talent, hell, Triple H could come over.
Mm.
The any they can keep getting WWE people. AEW would never be WWE. And now they realizing we got to stop trying to be them and be us. And that's what I like about AEW. Yet you call it a super indie. And let me say this real quick. You call it a super indie. And in fact, it probably is. I like the fact that they acknowledge so many different companies. You, this person coming in from this company. Maybe I don't know about them. Don't know about that company. After the match, generally, it's like, damn, I'm gonna have to put my eyes on that
Mm.
because that person so talented and they mesh so well. I want to learn more about it. So again, for me, I love where AEW stands.
Okay. 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 That was my impression of Joe Pesci. Okay. 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 All right. So here's what I have to say to this. Okay.
Okay.
This is turning into a different show than I entirely expected. Um, I will argue this, that I feel that Tony Khan, and this pains me because it doesn't pain me, but it's just something I have to accept the fact that Triple H and Tony Khan aren't that far off from their way of looking at things. They book for the pop. Okay. And Triple H is taking a beating by everybody because of it, because of WWE, because of the standards of WWE, because of what WWE is supposed to be. You know, one can argue that they're not really that far off in terms of their philosophies and what they're looking for in terms of gaining popularity, in terms of gaining viewership, in terms of gaining people to talk. It's all about the pop. Okay. We saw that.
Yes.
It's very evident with what we just saw with Sami.
Right.
Okay. It's very evident what we just saw with Punk. It's all for a pop. AEW matches, the structure of the matches, the flippity floppity gloopity gloopity flop flop flops that we constantly see, high spot after high spot, which is just now like, to me, a high spot in AEW is just like a fucking headlock now. Okay. You know, like, back in the old days when Ric Flair would hold on to that headlock for a good 5 minutes. That's
Right.
basically what it looks like to me, which is why I said last week, which is why I made the point of it and put it in the description of the show, is AEW getting stale. Right. So we have that there on both sides of the fence. They're not that far off of each other. One just has a juggernaut behind them. And the other one refuses to spend any money, but make any money, but spend money hand over fist in AEW. So both companies aren't far off, man. It's all about the pop. The pop was for Darby in Seattle. Granted, they did a little something with the guy. They made him work a little bit. He got to defend the title against lesser guys, up and comers. Maybe that was their way of gauging, okay, who are we looking at here as an up and comer? Maybe that's what they were doing. I don't know if anyone's ever talked about it from that perspective, with Bandito and all the guys that he fought leading up to losing to MJF again. Right? Same thing again. Okay, so Punk's a champion. Where's the next pop going to come from? Is wrestling now become just a pop fest? Is wrestling now becoming like baseball? And I love baseball, and I use it as an example. And I'll use the World Cup. I love football as well, real football, not American football. Yeah, the British came out of me there for a second. Yeah, okay. And my roots run deep over the pond.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Unfortunately, I have this accent, but I wasn't far away from having it the other way. So when I look at the World Cup and I see everything that went there, and I see the influence that Orange had over there, which just blew my mind. No disrespect. I'm sorry, America. You got schooled yesterday. All right. There's levels to football. Canada, Mexico, and America all learned that very, very quickly. We're not political, Bear, but I just want to say this really, really quick because I haven't had a chance to say this to anyone yet. Isn't it ironic that the president was trying to reverse the red card of a player who was born in America by accident because his mother was too pregnant to fly back to London? Day before that, the Supreme Court in your country shot down his proposal to not allow pregnant women in the country. Yet here he is defending the exact product of what he's trying to eliminate to keep him in a game. Just that's all I'm going to say.
Hey, yeah, that's a whole different story.
Okay.
But let me say this real quick. I love the fact that you can see, and rightly so, how close the companies are.
I have to admit it now. I can't keep defending the company I love. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's hard.
And it's changed. And you know what's funny is if more, and this is just me thinking, if more people would stop beating Triple H up for not doing Vince McMahon things and understand what he's trying to do, I think it will get further.
Here's the thing on that, and I'm glad you brought up Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Okay, I don't know if you're a fan of Chris Van Fleet and his show.
Yes. Love.
Okay. Did you see the one? Did you just see the one with Jarrett?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna paraphrase it, but I want you to go check it out. I'm sure it's being clipped up. You probably find it somewhere. He said something very interesting. And again, don't quote me on this. This is just,
right.
I'm just taking his thoughts and I'm kind of making it in my own. Okay. He said something along the lines. One thing I think a lot of these older guys that had issues with him are starting to realize how important he was for wrestling in terms of what he did and how he did and everything. Because since he's gone, we've never had these many issues in professional wrestling. We had issues, but not like the way they are built today. Okay. Not how everyone's pointing the knife at this guy and pointing the knife at that guy. And it seems like everyone constantly keeps pointing the knives at Triple H. Okay.
Well,
Jarrett said this.
Go ahead, sorry.
Before I may. Okay. Jarrett said this. When McMahon was in charge from beginning to end. Right? Fully in charge, fully in control of everything. When WWE went public, he still was fully in charge. He wasn't answering to anybody, and that's how he was able to do what he was able to do. He sells the company to Shapiro and Ari, okay, to TKO Endeavor. I know, and Chances said that as well, and I have to believe him to be true on this. Ari only bought WWE thinking that McMahon would still be there and he would just run it and he would just cash his checks on the side. Ari didn't think he'd have to get too involved with this product. He didn't have to do too much because he knows nothing about wrestling. Okay. He
Right.
knows about movies. He knows about producing. He doesn't know about combat sports. He has no clue. He's got Dana White over there, which is why you never really hear about TKO meddling in UFC because he's got his man there to run the show the way he wants it. And he keeps cashing in his checks. McMahon unfortunately decided to take a shit on a girl and he got in trouble and he lost his guy, so now he's kind of stuck. I know he wouldn't have bought the company if he knew this was going to happen, if he knew that was in the air. Ari doesn't have the same control Vince does. He has to answer to Wall Street. He has to answer to everyone else. How sustainable will this company be going forward if that's the case? Because everyone keeps blaming Triple H. Everyone keeps blaming all these other guys, but we got to go to the main source of it all. The company that your biggest show for the summer is not selling out. It's not Triple H's fault. It's the fact that you guys are still not learning from WrestleMania and charging $600 for a nosebleed ticket. Oh, wait a minute, we can't have Sami as champion because he's not selling tickets. No, maybe that's a part of it. But the biggest part is the fact is you guys are ripping everyone off still.
The best thing you said to me, and it's the truest thing. Triple H is just a figurehead. He doesn't have the power like Vince.
No.
So what do you expect him to do but what his boss tells him to do?
You can tell. Oh, dude, look at it this way. Okay, you know how Triple H always takes pictures with all the champions backstage, blah, blah, blah,
right.
The finger and all that. Look at his face. He looked like he was not happy about that.
He has look at Triple H before he had his heart attack.
Yeah.
And he had the black and gold brand.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different Triple H. And look at him now. It's like, I can't win for losing.
Dude, it feels like Clockwork Orange when it comes to Triple H. Okay. Have you seen Clockwork Orange?
No, I know of it.
Okay. So one of my favorite movies, Stanley Kubrick. Check it out. It's dark. So all and I say this with all the respect, Bear, anyone who's woke, don't watch it because it's just going to make you very upset. Okay. But that's what movies were back in the day.
Hell yeah.
All right. We could handle it. We knew what was right and wrong. Anyways, there's a part there where they try to reform and desensitize one of the guys, the leader of that crew. Okay. I feel like if you go back and look at what they do to the guy, I almost feel like TKO Endeavor are trying to do that to Triple H to break him.
I can understand. I can understand because imagine if Triple H had complete control of a company. And I'm not saying that he would be the greatest of all time or anything like that.
Hey,
but
man,
it would be a fair shot. And we know, that's life. Life ain't fair. But I feel like Triple H gets so much undue beatings for other people coming in to make him happy. With The Rock, he had to, when The Rock came in, he had to put up with The Rock and he changed things. When he's like, hey, I want this. It doesn't make sense. I've been doing
and
this.
and and that's why I defend him so vehemently, because not only look, dude, Undertaker and Triple H were my guys growing up. Okay, and Triple H holds a special bond for me because my dad hated him because he was such a bad guy. Okay,
Right,
and my dad and I used to watch. That's the one of the few things that my father and I had together was wrestling. Right,
right.
to the point where I left home one Friday afternoon. I said I'll be back, and I didn't come home till Tuesday morning. That was the Calgary Stampede pay per view with the Hart Foundation versus the Road Warriors, Ken Shamrock,
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold was on that team as well, and I
Right.
can't remember. Anyways, I went to the airport, bought a one-way ticket to Calgary, flew in, caught the show, crashed in Calgary for the night, hopped on a Greyhound Monday morning, drove up to Edmonton, watched Raw, hung out in Edmonton for the night, and came home Tuesday morning. I came home and my dad said to me, "Where were you this weekend?" I said, "I was just at a friend's house." Because where else were you? I go, "No, just hanging out." Okay. Because come with me. I'm like, all right. He took me downstairs. And this is, the love hate relationship that we've talked about before. You knew the man truly loved me because he knew I wasn't home and he taped Raw for me because I wasn't there because he knew I was going to want to watch it. Right.
Right.
Now, when I got to Edmonton, I got a ticket from this guy, which is front row for $50. I was, I'm going to find it for you. I'm going to send you the clip. Okay. That
Okay.
Raw, I was there front row holding a sign saying something. I can't remember what the sign said, but I was holding a sign front row and my dad saw me in the crowd.
I was wondering. I was wondering if he caught
I didn't have great seats for the Stampede, but I looked up for Monday Night Raw. I don't know how I got that ticket, but I got the ticket and I was front row. Like literally right on the thing. That's the only time I've ever had a front row seat at a WWE show. And that's the one where Bret Hart came out to do the Canadian anthem and Stone Cold attacked him from behind. Sort of a deal, right? Yeah, and that's my story, man.
it. It's the one thing I will say with wrestling the way it is today and the different things for how much we criticize it
Sure,
because we do. And that's a part of what we do as fans. We're going to criticize things.
absolutely.
It keeps us entertained because I will say, as much as I wish WWE would do some things differently, it's kept my attention where it's like, okay, I need to see this. I need to see this.
Are we fans, Bear, or are we just gluttons for punishment?
We are fans because and generally I would say we're just glutton for punishment, but we're fans because we know a lot of things are not going to go right,
No.
and we can sit and process it
Hmm.
to the point of, okay, that was the dumbest shit, but I'm gonna ride with it to see how they if and when they make it right. Because when they make it right, everything gels is like, you know what? That
Brother,
okay.
if wrestling was a teacup ride at the fair, I've been in the same fucking teacup for the last 40 years, bro. 45 years at
Yes,
least.
sir.
Maybe 47 at this point. Okay. I keep coming back. I've taken criticism. You've taken criticism. People have laughed at us behind our back. I know it. I don't care. I know who you are.
I
Okay.
mean, hell, I have
You
the
know
ones
who they
laughing
are.
at my face. They
Okay. Yeah,
laugh
but
in
there you
my
go.
face,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
when they get done, the best thing that really made me really appreciate wrestling was, as a kid, of course, I was big into it. moved out for the first time.
Sure.
Me and my ex-wife, we were
Yeah.
living together.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, we were scraping to get by. But man, I was scraping up that money for that pay-per-view.
Well, there you
I
go,
was
brother man.
I
I
paid.
appreciate it. I
So
appreciate
one
it.
time I invited my dad over. My dad loved wrestling too.
Yeah.
And he knew how much I paid for it.
Mm.
Boy, he ripped into my ass. You need to take care of your business, blah, blah, blah. So I was feeling bad about it. My mom came along. She was like, okay, you like wrestling, right? She like, you don't drink, do you? No. You don't party, do you? No. You go to work, you come home, you handle your business, don't you? I said, yeah. She like, if that's what you like, tell your daddy I said kiss my ass. Go and get me pay-per-views you want.
No, and you know what? I was in the same kind of boat here, man. If we're talking nostalgia, my dad, regardless of everything, I'm glad we're talking about this a little bit, man. It's a bit of a tribute to our families. Um,
Yes.
I remember my dad. He was a hard man to deal with. Don't get me wrong, okay?
Right.
But that hardness made me who I am today. That hardness made you who you are today. Okay.
Yes.
I would change some of the philosophy and some of the action because I don't condone that stuff, but that's just the reality of what it was. Okay.
Right. Right.
But the old man always made sure I got my pay-per-views. In his own weird little way, that was his way of trying to make amends or show that he was that good guy. You know what I mean? Because I know deep down, as much as I loved it, he loved it too.
Yeah.
Right? We had boxing and we had wrestling. Those were our things. And he always made a point. And he's an honest man. My dad was super honest. Everything had to be done the right way, not the wrong way. You don't cheat anybody. You do it honestly, blah, blah, blah. But this man went out of his way to find every hot box that he could find so we could watch the pay-per-views together because this was at a time where pay-per-views were only in America. We only had closed circuit stuff in Canada. It hadn't really come up here yet. Not what everyone has access to today. We had to
Right.
work to find shit.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many pay-per-views I watched with the squiggly lines. I
Yes,
would sit
sir.
there and I was literally, it's like listening to baseball on the radio, but I was listening to wrestling. Every so often, the image would come clear. It was only 3 seconds, but it felt like 5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. He would go out of his way to find the box, the illegal box that he could find so we could watch the wrestling. Granted, though, he made me work for that show. I'd have to paint the house, I'd have to do this. So I had a month to do the work that needed to be done in order to get the reward.
Right.
Right. But I appreciate that because I think that ties into who we are as people today, Bear.
Oh, of course. Of course.
And and,
And
and that ties into what I was talking about Triple H. And this is why I love him so much because my dad hated him so much. We literally got into arguments because I supported Triple H. Right. I loved it. I loved it. So when I look at Triple H as head of creative, yes, he has to shoulder some of it. But people understand how many people are behind him pushing him. And it doesn't help that he always has to carry that thing with him that he married Vince's daughter. And that sucks because that was love. Like, think about it, dude. He only had two relationships that we know of. One was China and the other one was Stephanie, and he's still with Stephanie.
yeah.
They're still strong as a couple. They got beautiful children together. Show me how many people last this long at that level with that scrutiny, with that camera in their faces all the time.
Very true.
I'm defending him, but I'm trying not to defend him. Okay. He's accountable to a certain extent. You're the last call. And technically speaking, you're the one who writes off on it like Vince would have. Okay. I get that. But I don't believe he has all the power to write off on what he wants to write off on.
No, clearly he doesn't.
Okay. Where on Tony Khan's side, he's just a kid. He's just a big mark who's still like a deer in headlights, booking shit the way he would love to see wrestling, not the way
And
people want to see it.
well, and this is what I always tell people.
Mm.
If you were in the same boat, you would book it the way you want to book it.
See, I don't know.
Because
There's
well, and here's the thing though. As much as we love wrestling, as
mm.
much as we and watch all the years in different wrestling and different things, we have certain ideals of what wrestling is to us.
Okay, you're right, Barry. You're right. You're right. I can't.
And,
You win. You win.
and that's why when I hear that about people, oh, Tony, well, you would do the same thing. If I
No,
had the
no,
money, if I could book it the way I want to,
yeah,
hell, I probably every time you turn around, it'll be a damn bunkhouse stampede.
I get you. Okay, I
So,
think the reason I say I wouldn't is because I grew up in the restaurants. And I'm using this as an example because when you own a restaurant, number one thing you're going to fail instantaneously if you cook the way you want to cook for yourself, right?
right,
And I grew up with that philosophy because my dad, again, I don't know why he keeps coming up today, man. Amazing. Um, my dad was the kind of guy who taught me even when you're cooking for other people, you're not cooking for yourself, you're cooking for the palate of others, right? You may enjoy extra onions in your sandwich, but other people don't. You got to
right.
cater for the general public, you got to cater for the general masses, not for you. When you're cooking for yourself, you cook any way you want. But when you're cooking for other people, you got to cook a certain way. And because I feel that I already have that kind of thinking in my head in life in general,
Right.
I would think I try to book wrestling that way. But after hearing what you said, maybe after a year I would start to. But I think for that first year, I'd book everything the way I'd want it.
And see, and I love what you just said because look at AEW, how it changed and evolved. Because the first year it was Cody, the Bucks, and
Jericho.
Jericho. They had their way,
Yeah.
and then Tony was like, "No, that doesn't make. We're going to go this way."
Yeah.
Slowly started putting his input and
Mhm.
taking over. And
Yeah.
finally, he was like, okay, if I
Well,
want this to succeed, I got to do it my way.
well, I think Tony realized he's the money.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, and you're completely right with that. I think in the beginning he was just a fanboy who was saying, "Oh yeah, take my money, make the product, make it, make it, make it." You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And we know very well, as you do in the independent scene, and it's no different, no matter what country you're on, no matter what continent you're on, independent wrestling is such. Money is separate from the boys, right? In a lot of cases, the boys will mock the money because the money's trying so hard to get into that circle.
Yes.
They
Lord,
don't,
yes.
right? And that's basically what happened there until he realized, oh, no, 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 wait a minute, I'm the money.
This is
And
going to
then we
go
started to
my
see
way.
everything that's starting
And,
to happen, right?
and yeah. And that's why I think that's the main reason in my head why I defend Tony Khan so much because it's like, man, that's me. If
Yeah, I
I
get
got
that.
if I just turned around and got $1 billion, oh, we're gonna have a hell of a promotion.
Now, do you really want to know the real reason why I'm so hard on Tony Khan?
What's that?
It has nothing to do with wrestling.
Okay.
Okay. So about 15, 20 years ago, the FA, the Football Association of England, restructured its divisions. Okay. The emergence of the Premier League happened, which is now the
Okay.
top tier league in English football. Okay.
Right.
Then it was Division One, Division Two, Division Three, Division Four. Okay. Unlike American sports, you get relegated at the end of the season. So if you're
Mm.
top three teams at the bottom, you go down to the division below you, and the top two or three go up.
Okay.
And that's how the cycle works. Okay. Tony Khan and Rashid Khan own a team called Fulham. And Fulham and my local Brentford started from the same spot. And Brentford could not get a sniff of nothing. And here I am watching Fulham work its way up from the third division to the second division to the first division into the Premiership. While my Brentford was just sitting there, sad. Then I find out Tony Khan and his dad owned Fulham, and I'm like, I can't, I hate you. Cat's out of the bag. I just dropped the
I was
fourth wall. That's why
I,
I'm so
I will
hard
say
on Tony
this.
Khan.
I will say this.
And I
Most
hate the
times,
Jacksonville Jaguars.
most times, when you really dislike somebody, it comes to something so simple as that. You know, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan,
I'm sorry.
and the biggest thing that irks me about Dallas is the owner,
Jerry?
Jerry Jones. He
Yeah,
does.
well,
He thinks he knows it all. He thinks he can control it all. That's why Dallas just is in the state that it's been in.
yeah.
And I don't. It's not. I don't want a person to be deceased. But if that's the way to get rid of him, I'm not gonna say I'm wishing it, but
Hey, dude.
I won't shed any tears.
No, I get it, but there's three owners that you can put in that category. Al Davis,
Yeah,
Steinbrenner,
yeah,
and Jerry Jones.
yes, sir.
Okay, there's three dudes who are way too involved in their entity than they need to be. Right. But that's neither here or there, man. But yeah, that's why I don't like, well, that's why I'm pretty hard on Tony Khan. I'm sure he's a super sweet guy. I'm sure he would be so forthcoming and welcoming us, you know, being, you know
I
what I
would
mean?
say this.
I know that for a fact.
I would say this about Tony Khan too. Tony Khan has helped the wrestling business, not just with a different company
Perspective. Yep.
for WWE, but it puts in perspective a lot of things that we as fans thought WWE was so wrong about. Tony Khan does it, and now we see why WWE did some of the things that they did.
No, 100%. 100%. Listen, Bear, let's wrap this puppy up, man. Otherwise, next thing
Like you
we know,
said, we went like down the block, took a left, went right, and just got like this. Don't look like the neighborhood we started
no,
in.
no. So to give people a little bit of perspective, what Bear just said before we started here, I said to him, Bear, I didn't send you an outline. I didn't do what I normally do because we wanted to see what was going to happen. Why don't we just go at it and see where we ended up? Well, I tell you what, man, we started in Mississippi and we're somewhere in Georgia. All right, to give you guys an idea of what just happened here. So, that all being said, oh, very quickly, okay. Chance Michaels would love to have you on for a debate.
Okay,
So,
you know, I'm always up for a good debate, and
okay,
I
so
love Chance. Chance is my guy.
yeah,
Love you, Chance. So I definitely will be on.
okay, so I will set it up. I'm the moderator. I'm just going to sit back and watch
All
because
right.
it's hard for me to watch my two brothers debate. I can't get involved. Is that fair?
Yes, that's more
Okay.
than fair.
All right. All right. All right. All that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful afternoon. What a wonderful day. Everything is beautiful for the most part. That being said, I am Bobby Sampson.
And I am Professor Bear.
Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend. Just be safe. Be good to one another. That's all we ask. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, do not let anyone tell you different. Do not let anyone try to take away what you believe in. Fight for what you believe is right and keep fighting for your dreams. Anyone who tells you different is because they're scared to do it themselves or they're afraid to see you succeed. Professor and the Samp are out.
They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. One's a historian, the other loves to chant. They talk about the fights, all the slams and lights. It's wrestling mayhem day and night. They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. Their takes are quite insane, the wrestling world's their game. They break it down, they call it